Liquid got the better of them, so here we go into our second game of the match. Liquid hoping to make it a 2-0. And we get the Malzahar and Shen bans coming through.
Yeah, and you can see even though the teams have switched sides, the bans are remaining remarkably consistent as far as what they've decided to go with. There were a lot of target bans in that game, and it doesn't seem like much of a difference here.
Yeah, so far the exact same bans in the exact same order. We'll see if Rek'Sai and Jax become the last ones here. Sivir actually, so this means Liquid has a more important first pick in mind. However, it also means they don't get counterpick for a Jax that might come out for Darshan.
Yeah, I mean, I almost feel like if CLG wants to... If Jax is up, I think CLG is playing Jax. Even though there's a lot of stuff that you can think can be good against you, it's so core to a lot of CLG's victories. Unless Team Liquid is just so confident in Lorlo's Aurelia against the Jax. Really curious to see what this final ban is for CLG. And they're still thinking that Vladimir is the best mid laner, and Phoenix has had some really good games on it, so they end up throwing that last ban out to the leg.
Well, since the last round of Nurse of the Champion, we've still seen Phoenix do very well on that one, so it makes sense. It's at least consistent with their methodology here as Rek'Sai becomes the early first pick in. But yeah, I am curious to see if and when the Jax does come through for Darshan. There's an interview actually with Dardoch. We haven't played it for you yet, but spoiler alert, Dardoch talks about Lorlo, and he says, Lorlo's better than Darshan in every way except at playing Jax. That's the one thing Darshan has over Lorlo.
That's actually funny.
Paraphrased, but...
But I also, this is probably part of a larger discussion, but first impressions for players stick so long into the future. And Lorlo did not have a good rookie split, but if this was his rookie split, a lot of guys would be like, wow, I love Lorlo, the carry top lane.
Right.
Instead of the guy who's mediocre at tanks.
Right.
But everyone has this vision of Lorlo as this mediocre top laner. But his numbers and his performance in the last game have pointed towards him being a top-tier top laner. And I know there's a lot of other things that factor into it, like consistency and reputation and all those other things. But the numbers Lorlo was putting up this split, if he can sustain, will put him in the ranks with the best top laners in North America. I
mean, just consider what everyone thinks about Ray right now, right? His first 2 weeks, his team did very, very well. He had that sick Jarvan top game, and you're like, all right, Ray's the best. And well, okay, Ray does cool things, but he hasn't been putting up the performances that Lorlo has. And I think very few people would actually, you know, at a moment's glance tell you that Lorlo is a better player than Ray, but Lorlo's results are at least better than Ray's. And either way, that man is not in this game with Lorlo versus Darshan, and even then, Lorlo's been having better results. And again, very few would tell you that Lorlo was a better player.
Exactly. We can see CLG, though, locking down their strength once again, the duo lane. Who he could end up throwing that Karma in the mid lane, so CLG still has that flex opportunity. And with the Ashe and the Sivir already gone, you would expect Fabi to go to Jhin, just because that fits the utility style that Team Liquid has been going with. Don't know if they'll do it with these 2 picks, however.
Ooh, yeah, the other thought was Lucian plus Sona, the more lane-dominant duo. This is 6.14 Sona pre-hotfix, so best champion to the game win rate-wise. I'm actually surprised we don't see more Sona than we are seeing already, but yes, she is in, and this is the best duo lane I think you can get in League of Legends.
Yeah, I will caveat that, though, Freak, with the fact that solo queue win rate translating to pro play is vastly different.
True.
Azir has been in one of the lower mid laners forever, and it's one of the most potent champions in competitive play. It's the skill difference between the average player and the very best player, and you wonder how much skill expression you can have on the Sona. But with that being said, the raw power of these champions is incredibly high. The worry I have for Team Liquid is that when they put in Fabi in positions where he would be the hard carry, it hasn't worked out that well.
Yeah.
If this was Piglet in the bottom lane, you'd be thinking, holy crap, this is perfect for Team Liquid.
Right.
But now, Fabi's got to prove himself.
All right, well, maybe some temperate expectations here, but certainly a lane-dominant duo if they can make it work. Last few seconds to come through, and to pick a different Yordle, Gnar is going to come in, and interestingly enough, CLG so concerned with making sure their mid lane matchup is good. Even with the Jax up, they're still going to blind pick this Gnar and wait to flex.
I don't like it.
I don't
personally
either.
From this choice. They had the Gnar versus Aurelia matchup go wrong last game. Team Liquid already has a very generic team composition. It's very easy for them to pick the Aurelia. CLG gives up the counter pick opportunity for the top lane. I feel like Huhi has a relatively generic champion pool, but a blind Talia from Phoenix is actually quite surprising to me.
Yeah.
That speaks more to Team Liquid looking to snowball the bottom lane. So like they're very much looking to prove that Fabi can be a carry in this game. And now we get to see if who he wants the Karma or something else.
I mean, it still even lines up with one and a Snowball top as well, right? You got that same great matchup with the Aurelia into the Gnar. But I do agree it's going to be Phoenix roaming out as opposed to being lane dominant.
Right.
And the thought is, of course, he doesn't get counterpick anymore. You shouldn't assume he wins his mid lane anymore. So you pick him a roamer, get out of the lane, go join Dardak in either of those side lanes, whether it is Fabian, it very well may be, of course, or it's that same matchup that Lorlo had.
Yeah, I do want to caveat this a little bit. We still haven't seen a huge amount of Talia, and I feel like my understanding of her exact lane matchups isn't fully there yet. Like, maybe once you master that champion, it's just super OP, and you can actually win lane and roam with it. Because we have seen, like, people get solo kills with Talia in lane as well, but it's going to be the Cassio that who he goes up against it with.
Okay, so Cassiopeia in the mid lane, once again, the champion of choice for counter picks in this series, who he hoping to make up for a very lackluster game 1 against Liquid, but well, if history repeats itself, CLG lost game 1 to Liquid and still won the series earlier on this split. Maybe they can do that again. This is now Liquid with Fabi in the lineup and a Sona support.
Definitely looking for the 2-0, bringing out a lot of new stuff and a lot of different styles for Team Liquid right here. With this team composition, it is a side lane focused team and a lot of carry priority put onto Fabi. When you look at CLG, a lot of their playmaking is still centered around the bottom lane, but they did really prioritize Huhi's ability to last pick a mid. I am very surprised that CLG is willing to opt into that Gnar vs Aurelia matchup, which went negative 100 CS in the last game. So I'm definitely happier with Team Liquid's draft than CLG's, but I'm also very surprised that Team Liquid decided to change their style of team composition so drastically when they didn't have to.
Well, but it's what happened here. So we're now coming into game 2 with Liquid holding the 1-game lead so far in the series. One more, it's a 2-0 win. They move on to 9 wins so far in the North American LCS. Right now, 10 wins puts you in the playoffs for sure, unless Apex loses another match. The magic number is 10. Liquid are only 2 short of that. Team comps on your screen, players getting ready to go. Game 2 about to be before us. The crowd is ready, we are ready, and it is time for Liquid to take on Counter Logic Gaming once more here in the summer split. Here we go, game 2.
Yeah, Team Liquid looking to fight into that 3rd spot. That's the highest they can finish in the regular split, but that would still be very good for them. Would mean they play the 6th seed in the playoffs, which, you know, depending on how things go, could still end up being CLG, but
of course,
usually it's good to play a lower seed in the playoffs.
Well, if Liquid ends up 2-0ing the series and they come into the playoffs as their first round matchup, you can't imagine it's a bad thing for Liquid fans, right? So
that wouldn't feel bad. It's like, well, we just crushed this team. Now we got to play them again.
Darn, unlucky. Yeah, we'll see how well they can do, and based on the math, Liquid, they might be the final boss in the regional playoffs. They might even just qualify for Worlds outright if they can win the whole thing, but that would require them getting up to TSM and Immortals level, and either way, that's going to be several weeks away. Right now, it's Liquid trying to get themselves a good seed into the playoffs and ensuring they can get there at all.
Yeah, I'm wondering if CLG is going to try and dodge out of the lane against Sona and Lucian.
I think they should, more so for Gnar, actually. Because even in the first few levels, Darshan had already been -7 on Lorlo in an uncontested one-on-one. I don't even think the duo lane is as important as the top lane, matchup-wise. I do think Lucian and Sona would still win this duo, but I think for sort of both reasons you care.
Yeah, I really want to watch the duo lane because it looks like we're going to end up getting some standard lanes just because, you know, in the past, a lot of people say like Sona's very vulnerable in the laning phase to ganks, and then like once you get into the mid-late game, you know, Sona powers up with the heals and all the crazy stats she just ends up giving the team and is super powerful. But, you know, here Team Liquid's actually going with an identical lane strategy that they did in game 1. So I would expect a very similar play, a volley into the brush, but how much damage can they burst down? Aphromu's already pretty low. Oh, man.
And gets the power cord in as well. A nice rate of damage. Aphromu, yeah, he went in for an auto attack, but got hit by Fabi as a result. And, of course, Liquid have shorter cooldowns, so Matt gets the extra Q across. And, yeah, once again, a nice start here for the Liquid duo. A nice volley to turn it back around, and we continue on with, unsurprisingly, Fabi able to get all the XP from the melee minions. That's why he hit level 2 here, but Matt will hit level 2 there.
So, early lane shove goes to Team Liquid. Aphromu will have a bunch of health potions, so he'll be able to heal up decently well. He just won't have any extra sustain afterwards. The question here is, will Team Liquid be as vulnerable to the early gank as they were in game 1? And the answer already is no. because Phoenix trinket warded the blue buff for Xmithy. So they should see his path. He had that much early shove with Talia against Huhi's Cassiopeia. He got the deep ward, which actually allows Dardoch to take control of the river. That's very impressive for Team Liquid.
And Dardoch's in fact going to go for the fight right there. Huhi, of course, getting knocked around. There's the Talia change. You can W into E, and okay, Xmithy getting pushed out of the jungle. No mana left in the Gragas. Dardoch has Smite. There should be no chance he loses this blue.
Yep, Team Liquid playing with so much confidence and had such a strong game plan. They're like, okay, we're going to do the duo lane, camp in the brush, so that we get the early lane shove. Phoenix is going to play to shove the lane very early, and Dardoch is going to do a modified 0 buff route, by the way, so that he can reach the enemy blue buff with the deep ward. Like, all of that actually has to be calculated over a minute in advance. And Team Liquid pulls it off very well. In the long run, this will most likely allow Dardoch to 3-buff Xmithy and do a near full clear to get him around level 5. It's still going to be a very efficient route for Dardoch, even though it seems like he skipped some camps, just because the timing of the small camps will be respawning as he runs through.
Yep.
I'm going to nerd out in the jungle a little bit with his jungle path, because we just saw the wolves respawn for Dardoch. That means by the time he's at red buff, if he waits about 5 seconds at his raptors, that will respawn. And he can flow through his jungle so cleanly like this. Because he's just going to wait for this to respawn, because he knows the timing. No, he's going to go through it.
Just kidding.
Never mind.
It'll spawn soon,
I would have waited.
Yeah, you're right, but it was Gromp, Wolves, Raptors, and there's Raptors up right now.
Basically, if he would have waited a few seconds, he could have had Raptors, but he was worried about Xmithy rushing his blue to try and get the buff back. The most efficient path would have been to stay at Raptors.
Yeah, he ran over and he trinket warded it. You just saw that a second ago to make sure it didn't happen, and yeah, Dardoch making the lower downside, right? The best possible play by Xmithy was now blocked out. Phoenix even takes away some of the little Raptors that Xmithy would have wanted to take, and at this point, Xmithy being under leveled to actually really want that XP that it would give him, and won't have that here, so.
I know
Liquid's doing well.
Yeah, Liquid is actually doing amazing in my opinion. We're only 5 minutes in, but unless Smithy gets off some really impressive ganks, it's going to be extremely hard for CLG to win this game. They have...
He wanted to give it over to Phoenix, had to take it himself. Xmithy, though, does get away from Dardoch.
Yeah. Team Liquid has priority in every lane, as well as the jungle.
Afro Muka dive. This one, Summoner Heal used just for the last second. Exhaust, it kind of went on the wrong person. They could have maybe trapped the Karma a bit bigger. Either way, shield comes across. They trade some blows, and Fabi runs away from minion aggro. Potion's advantage is here for Liquid. Matt still has some, but he is out of mana. But you're seeing actually an equal trade of farm, so perhaps a 6-lane Afro move for how bad the very beginning of the laning phase went. They're roughly equal.
Yeah, well, we also have to keep in mind that part of that early lane advantage was traded when Matt roamed up to assist with the blue buff steal.
Yeah.
So it's kept it close, but like what Team Liquid has been able to do here through the draft, one of the reasons I didn't like COD's draft, as well as their early game strategy, is getting essentially an advantage in all 3 lanes, which to fight back from, you need some very creative ganks, since every gank is then going to be dangerous if every lane of the opponent is winning. It's a tremendous start for Team Liquid.
It is really wonderful for them. 700 gold lead without any kills. Look, plus 12 for Aurelia, plus only 4 down in the mid lane, and the AD carries are close, but that is the lead. They've got 300 on their jungler, more on Lorlo. Okay, less, but either way, it's still a nice lead for them. And again, the play on towards Huhi, knocked on half HP, but keep in mind that guy does have his ulti available, so all in the Cassiopeia would be difficult.
Yeah, Phoenix playing this matchup very well. The CS has been kept close by Huhi, but that's because Phoenix has been roaming around already. Plus, you can see with this wave stacking up, Phoenix will be able to push into the turret, and that could potentially line up ganks. Team Liquid already trying to prep control of this jungle again, because we know the strategy of Talia a lot of times is just get that bottom wave pushed up, let Talia roam through, jungler dives, 4 guys, maybe 5 bottom lane if the top laner decides to TP, and it is incredibly difficult to play against. And Team Liquid already prepping that play.
And you just saw more right there. You saw Liquid prepping the movement, right? Dardoch going up with Matt, Pink Ward, and Trinket Ward down to help track what CLG might be up to. Of course, Xmithy's already answered that with the Pink Ward down. That was Aframu who cleared some of those wards away. They're trying to keep control of their own bottom jungle, but now Dardoch hoping to keep Phoenix alive. But no gank comes through for Xmithy, so Dardoch goes back to his own jungle. Level 6, though, on the Rek'Sai. Has more XP than Xmithy.
Yeah, Phoenix able to get a deep ward in the Raptor pit of COD. CS is cleared. I did like the sneaky ward that Xmithy was able to get, or it might have been Huhi even that spotted Dardoch while he was prepping to gank. So CLG just kind of has to survive this laning phase, wait for Stixxay to hit level 6, and then try and make some plays.
But survival's a 1,000 gold deficit, and that's not the best way to survive something, honestly. Stixxay losing a lot of health, gets a shield, as it looked like it was on cooldown for a while from Aphromoo.
This is a dangerous gank for Team Liquid. CLG is kind of onto it. Their mid laner and jungler are close.
Okay, bit of a risk, but Darshan is going to run out of Mega Gnar here, gets stunned up, flashed over the wall, down to 400 HP. Lorlo wants in, and it's going to be first blood coming through for the Irelia, but now they're a little bit cut off. Damage out from Huhi, and Smithy fights off Dardoch. Lorlo's going to have a hard time outplaying this one. I think Smithy, though, is actually losing his battle against Dardoch. There's a nice stun, but he's trapped against the wall. A nice body to make sure he can't get too far away with the Blade Surge, and CLG actually able to trade back 2 kills, as Phoenix was also picked off. So, 1 kill for Huhi, as well as 1 for Smithy.
Yeah, I think Team Liquid failed to convert their advantages right there. They were too aggressive with that play. It was very telegraphed of Darshan, waiting until he was going to be out of Mega Gnar, and then prepping the 3-man dive. But CLG had followed so closely with this that they were lined up great for the counter game. Darshan uses his spells to get rid of the minion wave as best as possible. Turret aggro catches onto Phoenix. Smithy keeps him in the turret. Doesn't even bother saving Darshan because he knows that's a lost cause. He just makes sure they can win the fight from a purely numerical perspective. Huhi wards the brush, so Lorlo can't wait there for him. And then Smithy just body slams in to secure the 2nd kill. And that does keep CLG in the game.
Keeps him in the game, but it means that their blue buff has still not been picked up. So Dardoch has both of CLG's blue buffs so far. Smithy has both of his reds. But that's, of course, a solid jungle control rate. All said and done, though, CLG is still down in gold despite being up in kills. A fight for the Raptor. Smithy has Smite. Shouldn't be a problem for him. And boop. There it is. Now, though, Phoenix not in the best of situations. Huhi going for the chase. Exhaust is on, but now Darshan's in the flank. That will be a flash for Phoenix. Will there be a follow? Yes,
nice
Darshan wants in. Jumps in, gets knocked back, and he doesn't have the damage anymore. Phoenix rock surfing away. Just barely dodges the cardboard box, and he's all right.
And that is CLG punishing Phoenix for his aggressive patterns. He'd consistently gone towards Raptors, and really not worth the harassment on Smithy there that he's going to be forced all the way back to base. So I do feel like Team Liquid mismanaging their advantages a little bit, and CLG, opportunistic as always, coming back in this game.
Yeah, they are, and keep in mind that Liquid drafted for the laning phase of their dual lane, and yes, they've roamed and made other plays and helped jungle control, but as far on the head-to-head matchup, actually, Fabi and Stixxay equivalent, and Ashe will almost always have a better late game unless she's just completely killed off by the Irelia. So you can't really be too sad about CLG's dual lane.
Smithy's going to steal.
Blue buff attempt. Oh, he forces Dardoch once again to take all 4 blue buffs this game. Neither mid laner gets any. And the people that have a blue buff, Rek'Sai is the worst one in the game.
Really not useful at all.
Maybe Gnar's worse, I'm not sure.
No ability power, amplification, no mana regeneration.
Yeah.
But he gets the experience.
And he gets 10 CDR.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Wonderful.
That means he can throw his Prey Seeker more frequently.
That's true. Much to Aftermoo's chagrin.
Bottom lane.
Boop. Every 2 seconds. Actually, wonder, which one do you think is worse, actually? Gnar or Rek'Sai with the blue buff? Which is least valuable?
I think Rek'Sai would be less valuable, personally. I think Gnar, at least just getting out more boomerangs, like especially when you get some decent CDR on Gnar, the cooldown refresh on your Q actually makes it, decently infinite.
Almost infinite.
And I think when you hit those breakpoints, it's more important than Rek'Sai.
Okay.
But Dardoch gonna look for dive.
He's looking for some prey to seek. Got spotted by a ward, which means CLG runs away and gives away control over the turret. No surprise there. A nice gank by Dardoch to ensure that this wave dies the turret without getting farmed. And the turret itself, they will stay and they will pick it off. So first turret of the game going to Liquid, finally actually finding the advantage from this lane pick and running their Rek'Sai over at the right time.
Yeah, I want to talk about Dardoch's Rek'Sai build as well, because this, aside from the Mercury Treads, it's something Dardoch does where he rushes boots 2 faster than most players do, just for mobility. I'm going to wait a second, actually. Smithy's going to try and gank Phoenix, I think.
Because you're going to talk about Tiamat in a sec.
I will talk about Tiamat in a sec.
Wonderful.
Gnosis, I was talking to him about it earlier. Yeah, Rek'Sais have been rushing Tiamat first before any item because it empowers the jungle clear so much, and then it'll give them a level advantage in which they can be the duelist. And it's kind of making Rek'Sai, who was this utility tank jungler, also just farm faster and be stronger overall. I feel like it started in the LCK, where most junglers are now adopted it, and it's working itself into other regions.
Yeah.
I'm waiting to see other junglers that can do it, because almost worth that it's not just direct side.
And
Phoenix
you
in trouble.
outplay it. Phoenix trying to get away. Gets away from all the poison. There's the body slam into a barrel, and Phoenix does not have flash, so he has nowhere to go. A nice, clean kill picked up. But now the trade in. Matt flashed in with help from Dardoch earlier to pick off Stixxay through both the summoners.
And getting a kill onto Sona, a lot of times supports want to kind of give the kills away. Sona scales tremendously well. She actually has good AP ratios, and being able to get a Locket plus an Ardent Sensor, and then even in Athene's late game, are like tremendous breakpoints for the Sona to be able to get.
Yeah, and
So-
super mana hungry too.
Yeah, I love the fact that Matt just was willing to go in to finish that kill and use all his spells.
Nicely done right there. Dardoch clears away most of the mid wave. He's going to be all right for himself. Plus 16 in farm over Smithy, who is going to take away this Gromp and feel all right with it. But Dardoch is holding a perennial level advantage over Smithy's Gragas. He watches again.
Yeah, so Lucian isn't even close right here, but they just ult into knockup onto Stixxay. Stixxay uses both of his summoner spells to get over the wall.
A nice
Doesn't arrow Matt. Oh,
And now we go on this side as Phoenix goes for the rock serve. Doesn't find much to do. That does allow Huhi to run away with flash plus his ultimate. A trade of ultis, but Huhi missing a summoner. Nice gank attempt by Liquid.
I do think this is super interesting, though, in this game, how it's actually Huhi who is the leader for CLG with the 2-0 score on Cassiopeia. He would now be the one who has to carry in team fights. I like the idea that Team Liquid had for this composition is like, we're going to pick for our side lanes, and then Phoenix is going to be super aggressive and roam around. But if they just would have put Phoenix on a team fighter, like this game would already be in the bag, because they just have priority in every lane, and there wouldn't be a way of CLG coming back in here. But they've gone a little cute with roaming. Phoenix has made a few mistakes, given a few kills, and the door is slightly open for CLG.
Oh, weird flash by Darshan means a re-engage for Lorlo. Might almost pick him off. He needs a minute to dump 2. Q's gonna come up soon enough. And it's gonna be not even the trade. Lorlo gets away with it. Darshan with a huge misplay, and Lorlo gets the solo kill.
Yeah, really impressive. He had the Trinity Force. Darshan's gone with the mallet once again. That build didn't work for him in the first game. Didn't work for him in the second game either. No adaptation by Darshan in this Lorlo matchup, and he's punished with it. Yes, he made the misplay, but
Yeah.
Lorlo made the outplay to make it convert.
Yeah, I am really surprised, though, that everyone seems to think Gnar is like the top lane that you blind pick, and Fabi running away towards his base. Sona Rex are not far behind. Yeah, they'll be okay. It's just strange to me that we just keep seeing these Gnar blind picks, and they're losing a lot.
So Lorlo jumps in after Dardoch had gone aggressive, and then he actually just flashed point blank to get a bunch of damage, and he takes turret aggro here, which he was not expecting, but because he got the Q reset on the kill, he was able to dash to a minion and get saved. Just really heady play by Lorlo.
I think it's why we saw Darshan jump in. He's like, oh, he has aggro. I'll win this duel. He won't fight me. It's fine. And it was wrong. Dangerous game. Healed him up. I assume he has that. And, leveling up and everything else. So, miscalculation by Darshan, and yeah, Lorlo looking pretty good. Level 11 to 10 right now. Feeling good on this Aurelia.
They're prepping to dive, but CLG is ready for it once again.
Arrows up as well. Stixxay could participate.
The question mark ping. Team Liquid knows this is a little bit dangerous. CLG's actually here to counter.
4 members versus 4. Both mid laners still chilling in the mid side. But Phoenix can join first. Prey Seeker hits Afro. They know what's up. I guess those are probably stairs, not a...
Yeah, a 4v4 dive would be a little much for Team Liquid. Once again, though, like, this is indicative of Team Liquid's team composition not necessarily being as cohesive as it should be. Like, they should be preempting these dives and roaming faster than CLG can follow through Phoenix's mid lane play. But it's actually all 4 members but the mid lane, with Talia just farming in the mid lane. Like, that's not necessarily the point of the champion.
Right, at a certain point, like, he almost could have just walled off the CLG reinforcements as well and made the half-hearted roam and almost isolated Darshan. I actually wonder if a different team could have just made that dive happen anyway.
I think so. There's a chance. But even so, Team Liquid still with a 2,000 gold lead, and basically CLG is looking to survive and play around Huhi.
And, that was an interesting question we had during Champ Select. It's like, wow, this is interesting. CLG lives or dies by him. I guess that's, part of it. And he is the one member doing actually very well here on CLG. Smithy, of course, not bad either, just getting out farmed. But he's made the ganks work. But we'll see if this Cassiopeia can hard carry. If she can land all the poison, then yes, you can damage down the Aurelia and the Rek'Sai. Those are definite targets for her. But he's got to be able to survive who he has to get that damage across. We'll see if he can get away from Crescendo and whatnot. Of course, he's running Ignite, not Cleanse. So if CC lands, it's a bad world to be a snake.
Very true. He was going for more lane pressure.
And he got it.
He did. He's not against Ashe, so he doesn't necessarily need the cleanse like Phoenix wanted.
It's a less scary world he lives in, for sure.
Still very dangerous, though.
He's got nice backup, right? Gragas, Ashe, Karma, all good enablers for the team. I do like what CLG's team fight looks like as a squad. Nice by Dardoch, outlast hits Darshan.
Yeah, I like CLG's team fighting a little bit more than Team Liquid's. I think Team Liquid was definitely looking to kind of snowball lanes and then take over the game.
Yeah.
Whereas CLG has a strong initiator in Ashe, good tank line with Gnar and Gragas.
And a great team fighter in Cassiopeia. Top lane going to get cleared away. Nice killing by Fabi. That's going to be an alive turret. Liquid right now up 1, Mountain Drake to 0. They've kept objective control pretty good here. Up 1 turret to 0 as well. They knock down bottom outer. And here we go, the route onto Dardoch, jumps back into his tunnel. It's maybe getting pushed around, slowed by the power cord. It's not quite going to be enough. And Suhi just playing, once again, the wave control in the mid lane. Those two are almost identical. It's Darshan, who's really the one very far behind in the matchup, down 47 right now under Lorlo's Aurelia. Liquid again with priority on the top lane this time around. Damage into that turret. Xmithie trading both Dardoch, and here comes the wall to cut them off. This is the play that Liquid wanted, and a bad Ashe arrow from Stixxay. A beautiful knock-up into a whole lot of damage. Xmithie tries to salvage it, and they will pick off Phoenix. Stixxay actually still alive. Crescendo not doing enough. There we go. Fabi flashes in to make something happen. And now Lorlo really wants to kill off Darshan, who flashes away yet again. But he is still stuck on the wrong side of the town right now. Who he jumped on, isolated and alone, lands an ulti, a bit of damage coming across, finally gives himself a kill, but Huhi is very, very low. How much more can they get? Dardoch whimpering around, trying to find something else to do, and actually, yes, they pick off Fabi, CLG winning in kills, and now Dardoch has actually realized he's bitten off way more than he can chew. Huhi on the chase, lands the E, lands a kill, Huhi on a rampage, and now Xmithie to chase down a no mana Matt. He is dead for certain. They give it over, a double for Huhi, and CLG capitalize on the over-aggression of Liquid.
Oh, we have ourselves a series. That's a 5-0-1 Huhi now after that play, and quite honestly, that fight was a mess. Team Liquid was not clean in their initial engage. Phoenix decides to run all the way up here. The Cassiopeia can't match the roam, and it's going to be a party in this lane. He cuts him off. He hops off early to avoid the Ashe arrow, but then he still takes a bunch of damage. Like, he's a super squishy champion. Next, Xmithie gets a melee on him super quick, so they kill him, and they did not secure the early kill on a Stixxay, and then they have to invest a lot to finish that off. Aphromu's still alive, so he can shield Xmithie in the back, and Team Liquid has still put themselves in between turrets. And then Huhi's approach is super aggressive, but he has flash. He doesn't necessarily get bursted right away, so he finishes people off, and he still has the defense of his turret. And then instead of Fabi just killing Huhi under the turret, he kind of skates through it, tries to finish a kill onto Darshan. I think Team Liquid, even at halfway through that fight, had the opportunity to still win it. And then they chase down a bunch of kills at the very end of it, but we have a bit of a dragon dance going down on the mid screen.
But it's CLG getting priority after that one. They've tied up the gold off that previous fight, and here they go looking for an Ocean Drake, something that Matt would love to have. With how resource-hungry Sona is, it's actually her best Drake, but she's not going to get it. It's going to go to Counter Logic Gaming, and they picked up one for themselves now. That can help quite a bit. If they take any kind of poke or punishment, they can get those resources back up, maybe withstanding some of what Sona's going to put out toward them. CLG also with priority on the mid lane. They don't have minions just yet, but they don't have any Liquid champions to fight with either, so Phoenix will not clear this away successfully, and that will be CLG's first turret of the game. Now, their first lead in a while. CLG looking for a little bit more to bite off in this mid lane. Turret down to half. Liquid really not defending it. They're going to stay a little bit longer, and that turret is nearly dead. Liquid slow on the move, but it's because they sent Fabi to the top side to knock down a turret, which means Liquid actually staying ahead in the turret game.
Yeah, this will be interesting. I still think the middle turrets, while they give the same gold value, are more important for teams to be able to take. So if CLG can 5v4 down this turret, I think they're willing to sacrifice the other one. Xmithie has the flank. He goes!
Explosive cast, pushes them around, and the arrow's going to land onto Lorlo. Turret goes down, and CLG, of course, they don't have an 80 carry to fight against. Fabi's still on the top side. He did kill the same turrets that CLG killed, though Fabi took down top outer and tier 2, keeping those scorelines equal, and CLG got no kills. Again, you say those turrets are worth more in sort of
just map pressure.
Map value, but yeah, intrinsically gold-wise, they are the same.
Exactly. It opens up the jungles of Team Liquid if CLG wants to have more roaming ability. And it creates a really weird imbalance on the map right now because Team Liquid's side lanes were so strong that they still have all of their outers, yet 2 mid lane turrets are killed. So I actually don't think the map fully opens up for CLG yet until they can take those outer turrets. And because of the priority they just put on mid lane, those are still a good while away.
Yeah, it's pretty hard for CLG to push any deeper into the mid lane without risking being collapsed upon because they have no control over either side jungle. It will be a long road ahead for CLG, but they are keeping the game close. 600 gold lead still puts Liquid ahead right now. Again, that Fabi split push answered that CLG siege quite well. We'll see what the next play ends up being. Early Titanic Hydra out for Dardoch, so he's going to be a bit more of a damage threat. It means Liquid's damage output's very physical heavy because Phoenix is not exactly ahead, and Talia is not the highest damage champion in the first place. So armor stack coming out, you're seeing an early Dead Man's Plate for Smithy, Darshan, Ninja Tabby, and the like as well. I don't even think he needs Spectre's Cow, but he's building towards it anyway.
Yeah, he's just trying to tank up as much as possible right now. Really not much magic damage threat will be coming directly under Darshan.
The wall separated who he nearly created them an advantage, but that's not going to mean too much. Stixxay was able to split push down the top lane outer turret, making that 3-3, but Liquid don't find anything to do against Smithy down there in the mid lane, and CLG have kept their mid lane turret alive as well. So Phoenix missing an ultimate, and CLG getting a 1-for-0 turret trade puts now the red team down 1 game in the series with a small gold lead.
Yeah, I really have to hand it to CLG for staying alive in this game when they had such a poor early laning phase. This is the way they can win. Matt misses his flash ultimate because who he flashed away.
Arrow's
the re-engage.
Oh, just does not land it. Lorlo taking a bit of punishment. Smithy is low. Explosive cast does not get them any new targets as well. It's going to be a disengage out of CLG. And there's not really any engage tools left for Liquid, so this might just be a stalemate here. Stixxay's got to be careful, though. He is isolated on the left-hand side. He cannot be like that. If Dardoch wants in, he can get him.
Yeah, it allows Team Liquid to push up the mid lane a little bit, but Stixxay is going to be able to loop it back around. The question will be whether or not Team Liquid can get damage on the mid lane turret here. Very hard to push through a Cassio.
Yeah, Huhi's doing the wave clear duties, and looks like they're not really going to want to push in. Huhi still holding on to that Petrifying Gaze. The ultimate from Cassio means, yeah, you're not going to find that fight. So a bit of a reset. 600 gold, very, very tight game. Dardoch and Lorlo both built to be high damage champions. You're seeing Ruin King second come out of the Aurelia. There it's done. Again, mentioned the Titanic Hydra, so those Bash Brothers are very scary. Stixxay is going to need some peeling tools, but thankfully for him, he has them with a Karma and a Gragas and a Cassiopeia, so I don't even really think the Bruiser builds here for Liquid are going to do that much. I feel like they have to play this split push game.
Yeah, I think they do. I think they need to either 4-1 or some type of 1-3-1. But Lorlo doesn't have the same advantage he had on Darshan earlier. I agree with you that Darshan probably should have skipped out on the Spectre's Cal and gone for more of a duelist item against Lorlo, because that's what he'll need to be able to win. But I do think CLG's greatest strength, surprisingly, is the team that has really cut their successes with 1-3-1 is teamfighting.
Right.
They have a really strong mid laner and a good teamfighting composition.
Well, this late into the split at CLG showing they still have more tricks up their sleeves. They had said earlier that they had a hard time adapting to the new sort of form of League of Legends after the mid-season invitational. The types of champions that were strong were different. The types of play styles the team were employing were different. And they said we needed to learn how to play around mid lane. And here they came with a surprising draft. Wow, they're going to counterpick for Huhi. They're going to give him a team fighter. This is very unlike CLG. They're blind picking for Darshan into a bad matchup. And here they are, the best game they've had so far in this match with that style.
Still super close. Darshan's going to have to hold on against Lorlo. If that turns into a solo kill, that would turn very bad for CLG. But at least now, they have a strong 4v4 advantage over Team Liquid.
Dardoch slinks away. He's afraid of what could have been with Smithy's engage tools. The top lane doesn't really take any damage, though. The wave clear good enough. Darshan once again battling with Lorlo on the far corners of the map. No, I was going to say no advantage game, but actually there is one. Lorlo goes for the dive, gets chain CC'd and bites off way more than he can chew. A catastrophic mistake out of Lorlo, now 2 and 3 on the scoreline. CLG with control.
Yep, Lorlo knew he had to try and make a big play. He misfires, that gives it to Darshan. Darshan could technically teleport into this fight.
It's a
Team
threat
Liquid
of
has
a
to be careful.
5v4. Expecting's going to run away from this one. And look at the damage on a Dardak. Puts him back into the fight. He's going to flash for him, but they cut Stixay. He flashes out. Now Darshan to hold the front line, who he is dominating with that kill over Dardak. It's now a 5v3. Liquid even choosing to fight a 5v4, knowing that Darshan to teleport is another really silly mistake.
Yeah, desperation play, I would say, from both Lorlo and from Dardak right there, trying to turret dive Anar and then trying to force a fight with the enemy TP being up. Darshan's trying to zone away because Cassiopeia and the rest of CLG are killing Baron.
Down to 1,000 health. Cooling is on. He's losing a lot of HP, but Huhi really buying a lot of time. There's no smite up for Liquid. That's going to be an easy smite secure. And Lorlo does have teleport. He's channeling it, but can Liquid find the 4v5 fight? Ulti's going to stun for Huhi, meaning a lot of damage on a Lorlo, and he's going to get picked off. The poison means the kill. A second one comes through thanks to Stixay. A nice little bit from Phoenix, but it's not going to be enough. The pickoffs are almost there. Nearly gets 4 kills for their trouble. CLG trying to find a little bit more. They will just walk away with the Baron and the extra 2 kills.
But they still get a ton from that entire sequence of events. The solo kill top lane by Darshan, the team fight win to round the bottom tier turret, the Baron, and then kills afterwards. And now 7-0-4 for Huhi. Basically just mirroring Phoenix's performance from the last game. Some less impressive team fights, but still a team fight force. Dardak really just zoned himself out from the rest of the team. No way Team Liquid can follow through. Darshan also teleported on the bottom side to stop the follow onto Stixay. Great zoning play by Nar, really just holding off the entire Team Liquid team. And then because they had Cassiopeia, they know how quickly they can take objectives. Now they get the Mountain Drake on top of everything.
That's going to be nice for them. Always, I think, the best Drake for closing out a game if you're already trying to be the team with the lead. Gives you the damage to turrets to knock things down and continue to play threatening. Baron bait. CLG finally looking for some damage on that bot lane out of turret. They kill it almost 30 minutes into the game, but they finally got something for themselves. Up in turrets, up 4,000 gold, looking for a bit more to do as Liquid are going to play defense for bot lane tier 2, but that's a risky defense with a gold deficit and a Baron buff on the enemy team.
Yep, it really is. Team Liquid, they don't like to lose slow, so a lot of times they are thinking of forcing fights.
And they lose fast.
When maybe they shouldn't, but this could turn into a quick loss if they try and fight here and it doesn't go well because of the Baron buff and the large main wave. Will Team Liquid go for an initiation? They don't even have Sona ult, and they're going.
A good segmented wall, though, puts up Darshan and Stixay, and it's something available, but look at that. A nice resetting ulti, a couple out of Darshan to buy some more time, and they will pick off 2, make that 3 kills already. Liquid maybe looking to lose fast after all. A double kill for Stixay. Only Fabi's left alive. They picked for the lanes. They got the early game lead, but Liquid could not hold on into the mid game. And counter Logic Gaming holding on to play through Huhi, to play through inconsistent mid laner, to get him a matchup he wanted to play, to get him the kills 7-0 and 6. 13 out of the 16 the teams even had all game long. And it looks like a Game 2 victory will be here for Counter Logic Gaming. And in the last half of the split, they might find themselves in the top 3 of the standings if all goes well for them. Game 2 to Counter Logic Gaming, and we will move on to the decider.
Match of the week, man. This is how it goes. 1-1. Huhi turns it around on the rest of